Hello friends, online world, I am Isto James and thank you for checking out the channel. Hey, in this video we're going to be doing something special. Do you wish that you were an amazing painter? Would you love to take something just super simple and with a couple of brush strokes or a few minute details, turn it into something amazing? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, I will be teaching you how to do this. Yes, a realistic beach scene for beginners. Now, why do I say beginners? Well, that's really easy because we're going to be doing all of this within an hour or less, and we're going to take some very simple structures and shapes, adding a few little tweaks and details to it to create this amazing magical landscape that we're about to do. So grab your paintbrush, and if you're not painting along with me, just enjoy the ride, I guess. Let's get it started. Okay, the very first thing that we definitely want to do is coat our background with some water. It mixes with acrylic really nicely, and I like to mix paint right on the canvas, so this will help too. So we want to cover that whole thing with water first. Now what we got to do is make a sky color. And what I do is take some of my phthalo blue and I mix it in with white. You're gonna have more parts white than blue on this, but I lay down the blue first and then the white with it, and I mix it directly onto the canvas. So that way I know I get this really cool sky effect that I'm looking for, and I can control how much white or blue it is, but it'll be hazy in some spots. So it'll work out pretty nicely. And of course, I have to paint my edges. I have to stand up here. Yep, painting the edges. I'm a little OCD, just in my nature, I guess. I just have to have these things painted. I don't know why. There's really no right or wrong to it, but that's what I prefer. You can do whatever you like with it as well. No right or wrong. All right, so this sky looks very sky to me. I think we're gonna work on some of the sand next is what we're gonna be doing. So with this sand, when we do this painting, or any painting really, especially when it's a scenery painting, I always work from back, from whatever is farthest away, and work my way up close. So the sky, to me, is really far away. Then we have our ocean, but there's even some ocean ground we're gonna be seeing. So I'm gonna lay the soil down first, using this burnt umber, and then we're gonna mix it with some burnt sienna. It's really important to me to mix these colors because if we just left it this brown that you're seeing, then it's not gonna have very much depth or dimension to it. So I'm gonna mix colors as I do this. If your canvas isn't still wet, it's a good time to mix some water into it as well. But the next layer up will be that burnt sienna, or like a yellow or an ochre kind of color. And I'm gonna mix it directly with the brown. And since I see the beach coming towards us, I'll make it lighter and lighter and lighter. And it'll make a lot more sense when we put some water in a minute. So now that I'm working this basically yellow or a burnt sienna color into the painting, it's a heads up, and if you need to do it, I suggest you do this as well, but I will be blending a lot. I will be blending a lot. I will be going back and forth until I find that I got this tone the way I wanted it to, so it's darker further away, lighter coming up close. We're going to do this with the ocean stuff as well. So take your time and make sure you mix these colors to get a consistency of what looks good to you. Again, no right or wrong. So now I'm gonna take some white and bring that into our sand. So I think in this particular painting, I think of it almost as a white beach sand, but I'm not gonna go pure white. I am gonna put keep some of this brown tone in there. I want that to definitely happen, but I wanna mix in as much white as I can right now with the whole background, just to bring that color out of what in my head sand should be. So up to you as well. If you want to use a lot of white, you can make this almost look like perfect white beach sand. Or if you want it to look more like a lake, or maybe just a different coast, maybe the water is a little different color. Really up to you, whatever you want to do. But I'm gonna mix some white in here and get it close to like a light tan, maybe like a Florida beach or something. So let's keep blending until we find what we need. I'm doing these swivel shapes to emulate like what the ocean would actually be doing when it's pushing the waves in. So it wouldn't come in just one perfect straight line. It would come in different sets. So that's what I'm trying to capture there, because this is gonna be the bottom of our sand, like I said, and then we'll put some water on top of this. So we should be able to get it, if we do it right, get a nice blend between the water and the sand so it looks realistic. But for now, I'm just gonna keep the higher part here towards the back of the ocean darker. Once we put some water on there, it'll come through, and I'm gonna capture some real life wave motion with those swivels. So let's keep putting in some white and make it look closer to a white beach sand. This is looking a little brown. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab some of this phthalo blue, this dark ocean blue, and then we're gonna mix some turquoise into it in just a little bit, but we're gonna place now our ocean. So this first top line is what, it's the whole main body of ocean and water here, and the horizon line right here. So right now, I'll come back and make this a perfect line in a minute, but I wanna get this dark blue in here, and then we'll have our ocean. You see I mixed just a tiny little bit of this turquoise in there just to make this look a little bit more rich. Looks like it has a little bit more depth to it, I would think, instead of just one solid color, like I said earlier. So yeah, turquoise, blam blam. This should thicken it up a little bit. Well, I got to stand here. I want to keep a steady arm. And not breathe. And now we have a good looking horizon line that's straight, nice and neat. Okay, so now we're gonna do the part of the ocean that's closer to us. So as this comes in, it would naturally be a little bit lighter. So we added a little bit more turquoise to it. And it's important that I left these two areas unconnected, because you see now I have a white line in there that will help me figure out that's gonna be my construction line for when we make our wave. So it's not perfect, but it already kind of looks like there's more depth into it. So just a little trick that works out there. We're gonna cover it up anyway, but it's a good construction line. So now to emulate the swivels we were talking about earlier in the brown in the beach, now as the water's coming in, we have kind of a nice setup as well for making these waves come in and look realistic. And then I'll keep working the brush here to make it thinner and thinner, and as we do, it's almost like the water itself is pouring over the beach. It's pretty cool. So you get your colors to mix just right. It'll actually look like you're looking through into the sand. It's the goal anyway. So I'll add a little bit more turquoise into the back again, just to add depth. But the one thing to make this look realistic and work is the ocean needs to be darker than the water coming in at the front. And the next thing that we're going to do is this white line in the middle. We'll have our wave. It'll be excellent. So right here on the edges, I'm going to try to just break it up and let the paintbrush naturally run out of paint so we don't get these thick lines, and this is where we start to see that ocean water breaking up on the sand. If you do it just right, it'll look transparent enough you should be able to see the sand underneath. And now our white line, we want this part to be our centerpiece, so we're going to make it very bright. And if you've ever been to like the Caribbean where they have really bright blue water like this, those ocean waves during when the sun is out, that you can see all that light coming through, it's so much lighter. So this, I'm just gonna add turquoise for now, and we're gonna blend this quite a bit too until it gets to the color I want. But what we're really going for here is a bright blue line right down the center of your canvas, like this wave is crashing in on you. And as I add water to this, it helps. I want to keep this wet. It's a wet on wet technique to make sure that these blues and this white blend. We don't want any harsh lines other than where reality would set. So like the top of the crest here, the top of this wave, that'll be bright white. But everything else, blend it down till it almost looks like a nice gradient or an ombre, some people would call it. And then that's what's going to make our wave stand out and be bright. So the simple way, just a white horizontal line, and then blend the edges so it's not so harsh, but on the bottom part of the wave here. I can be a little sloppy at the top of this wave though, because that's where water would be crashing down. And that'll be our next step that we'll do in just a second here as well. But I'm thinking now of sea foam, what kind of is washing up with it. So I'm gonna put some of this whiter color texture in here to make it look like sea foam, and then I'll blend it as I see fit, just to play with it, just so it still looks like water smooth. Water Smooth, a new cologne by that's what it sounds like. I want to make this water look smooth. I'm gonna go back in and do this ocean line. Make sure it's solid on the horizon like it would be in real life, and add a little more wavy textures in here just to make it look like, you know, it's the ocean's moving. And same thing here, I'm going to take this turquoise and make it emulate just brighter color coming towards us. Try to mix it with some of this blue and white here. And I'm just going to play with it back and forth until it looks like water to me. There we go. As I do this, you can see that there's different tones of greens and blues in here, and that's really the ultimate goal here. As long as I put it in a wavy looking pattern, then it's going to look like water, and you should too if you're painting along with me. You should just see all these different hues of light blues, dark blues, greens, and I'm just kind of mixing them up together in a horizontal swirl. So as long as we keep blending like this, I know it takes a little bit of time and we're doing some extra here, but it's because the more you add these different shades and colors into this water and blend them together, you're gonna get a real rich depth about this water, so it looks like it's full and has volume, and the light's hitting it at different areas, and that's how we achieve the realistic kind of form. But the real secret is once we get to these details, it kind of forces your eye to see exactly what we're doing. So I'm just going to keep blending here. And we'll get to the details in just a moment. Okay, so the tip of this paintbrush, I actually took some scissors and chopped up the ends a bunch so it would look frayed. I didn't want a smooth texture here. Let's put in some clouds. The reason I'm using this brush is great for clouds. I'm going to start by dipping it in a little bit of white, and then I'm going to let it naturally run out of paint as I paint these clouds in. I'm just going to dab and scrub some circles in here in a horizontal shape as well, and I'm just going to let the paintbrush naturally run out of gas, essentially run out of paint. As it naturally runs out, then we get some realistic clouds because you're getting a lot of depth and tone through that technique as well. So I'm just doing my best to emulate real cloud shapes here, and we'll add some over here, and as we do this it'll slowly dry out, giving us semi-realistic looking clouds there. That's not too bad. Clouds are my weakness. I'd have to practice them a lot, but we're getting closer. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Some nice looking clouds. Now, let's really get the ocean spray, the water coming off of these waves. And the easiest way to do that is the same exact brush, go in for some more white, and we're just gonna tap around this edge. And just like where we did with the sand, with the brown and the burnt sienna, we're gonna do the same thing with this ridge. We're gonna kind of come down and make it into waves or little squiggly lines. That way it looks like the wave is taking shape in different areas. We'll make this maybe tighter because it hasn't crested over the water yet. So maybe here's all the main splash, the main wave. And as I go towards my left here, I'm just gonna make it more and more detailed, a little more, clean it up a little bit, make it more refined. We're gonna go all the way around the edge here, and even though we'll add some more color to this, I mean, it already looks like a realistic wave. I really like these colors. You can do it with other colors as well. I've done this painting so many times in classes that I've taught, and you can do green paint, you can do blue paint, as long as you kind of follow the structure of working from backwards to front, and things that are further away or deeper or more dense are going to be darker. It's the easiest way I could explain it. But as long as you have that bright white color right down the middle that looks like our wave, everything else should look pretty secondary. This is going to be our highlight. Okay, then there's going to be some ocean sea foam coming up here, washing up on the edge of the beach too. And this is where we're going to tie some of these other corners together, and hopefully the result makes it look realistic. Sea foam here, sea foam there, dot, dot, dot. That easy. And we'll tighten up these areas here since it looks like holes. We gotta make something connected so it looks like a full body of water. There we go. That looks better. Okay, and the last thing I think to make this look real is I put a lot of emphasis on there being the bright white color coming down the middle. So where the bottom of this wave crests, it'll kind of be closer to the ocean's deeper color. So I'm just gonna add a little line of blue in here. So in a funny way, you should end up with a light blue line, a dark blue line, a very bright blue line, dark blue line, so it changes in sequence. I just want to add some more green here to emphasize the light, dark, light changes that we just made. If you ever took a photo of the beach or look at one, you'll see that it does that same thing natural in nature. And it's kind of what's appealing visually about the proportions of these kind of paintings as well, is those contrasts but the smooth blends between the lines. Yeah, see, I just want to make sure that this middle piece, this wave that we have, is bright. So it looks like that sun's really shining through as it's cresting. All right, let's make ourselves a nice little beach umbrella, just so we have some kind of subject matter in the painting. You can choose to leave this in or not do it at all, but I think it kind of ties the painting together. I just do kind of a very basic frame. I'll do just like a triangle frame in a 3D manner. So I'll just make a triangle on top of a stick, and then just to make it 3D, I'll put those two offsetting lines and our post. So we'll make it a cheapy umbrella, have like some wood framework in it and maybe a canvas top. Well, not like plastic, at least it's a nice one. I don't know. Make whatever umbrella you would like to do. Then you know what? I'm doing this all white just to cover up. It's like primering is what we call it. And we're just making sure that once I add some color or even more whites to this, that these are like our construction lines, we have a white surface to work from again. If you don't lay down just the white first, you can just put in darker colors, but sometimes they're opaque and you can see the actual ocean and water through it. So I lay down a layer of white of what my frame should be like, and then I fill it in like a coloring book. All right, so it's got to be brown. You know what? I'm not going to talk much more. We'll just fill it in some brown. We'll add some chairs and some shadows, and I think we'll be done. So I just took a little bit of the blue, the ocean blue that we used, and I'm using that color just to make it have some shading to it, so we have some depth in our umbrella as well. And I'm probably gonna blend this thing forever until it looks just right to me. But I'm only gonna spend a couple more minutes on it anyway. All right, there we go. Now we have a beautiful, cool looking, realistic beach scene. I hope you had a lot of fun watching or painting along. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share with your friends if you enjoyed this video. If you did paint along with me on this, go ahead and take a picture of it. Post it in the comments below. I'd love to see what you did and how you did it. Remember, you can change up colors, make it your own, have fun with it. And if you just watched, whether it was from the comfort of your toilet or the comfort of your bed, I really want to thank you for taking the time to check out the Isto James channel, and we'll see you next time.